There's a light in the sky, rising in the air. There's a feeling so strong. It's time to light the fire, like a bright shining light. Learn, getting more out of life. Love, sharing time with friends, feeling so strong.
Hello and welcome to the House of Wellness. I'm Luke Darcy and happy to be alongside my friend in health and fitness, Joe Stanley. Good to see you again, Joe.
It's great to be here, Darcy. Today, it's all about movement and motivation because it's Exercise Right Week, an annual campaign that's all about keeping your physical and mental health in top shape. Not that we really need the encouragement right now to get active because, let's face it, that's what most of us are doing anyway.
Well, the organisers must be absolutely rapt, Joe. This year's theme is movement is medicine, and we're going to check out the many fitness styles that have taken the internet by storm. And let's be honest, there's a lot of them out there at the moment.
We'll also debunk the myths surrounding schizophrenia and investigate a new diet-based treatment.
Yeah, Hines is taking us through that one, as well as serving up one of his own veggie dishes he's calling Meatless Monday. Now, speaking of which, Joe, keen to check in on how your vegan diet's going?
Oh, no, so I never said vegan. I said I was going to be plant-based.
OK.
Right. And I would say, 3-4 nights a week I'm plant-based.
You're
it's
struggling,
very hard.
aren't
Look, I am someone who prefers a high-protein, low-GI diet, so that means maybe I miss my meat a little bit.
Well, I admire you having a go. Anyway, Joe, good to get an update on that. Hey, we talk a lot about the many innovations that have come out of the past few months, Joe, and you remember last year we met an extraordinary Aussie engineer, Matt Patel, who makes free prosthetic hands for kids around the world. It's a great story.
Oh, I just love him. He's so generous and his technology is amazing. He makes the hands using a 3D printer and, as you said, Darth, gives them to people in need absolutely free. Well, Matt's now using his 3D printing technology, his time and his own funds to take on the coronavirus challenge. 3 years ago, Matt Botel used his redundancy payout to buy a stack of 3D printers.
I decided to start a charity called Free 3D Hands. We make hands and assistive devices for people all over the world.
His work has changed the lives of thousands of kids, like 3-year-old Izzy, who wears a custom-designed purple hand. But as life in Australia began to rapidly change, Matt found yet another new cause.
At Free 3D Hands, we have over 30 3D printers, and I thought we can be a part of the solution in addressing the PPE shortage that we have here in Australia. So we've completely repurposed over 20 of our printers. As a charity, we couldn't utilise existing money that was donated towards making hands to now be making face shields. So my wife and I decided that we would utilise $14,000 of our first home deposit savings just to secure the materials that we needed so urgently.
Within a matter of days, Matt's machines went from printing hands to making thousands of face shields for Victorian hospitals.
Been a fantastic collaboration. He's worked really closely with our infection control team, the expertise, to really design masks that can, protect all of our healthcare workers on a daily basis. Thanks, Matt. Really
Pleasure.
appreciate it.
I've never worked harder in all of my life, been burning the candle at both ends, working the late hours to set it all up, but it's been very energising knowing that we are doing it for the community. My family have been a really, really great support. My daughter Mia is running the laser cutter full time to make the sweatbands for the face shields. And my son Sam has learned how to run all of the 3D printers to keep them running.
I really enjoy it.
It takes about 2 hours to print one face shield, but with 30 printers running at once and the assistance of Matt and Yuka's little helpers, they're putting one together every 8 minutes.
I really like working with my family.
Looking after kids and working at the same time, so kind of juggling a lot, but getting used to it, so it's now feel really good.
We're packing all of our face shields with a pack date into sealed plastic bags and storing in a tub for 3 days. And that's really, really important because COVID-19 is known to survive on plastics for up to 3 days. Australia is really reliant on imports. The raw materials, even doing a value stream map of our own process for what we're making here, all those raw materials are coming from China, and I hope it's a real wake-up call. We need to be able to manufacture raw materials. We need to have the ability to make personal protective equipment. So we're really responding short-term to that shortage, and after this crisis, we look forward to going back to making hands for kids around the world.
After putting their own savings on the line, Matt and Yuka received a flood of community donations. Since then, the government have jumped on board to fund Matt's incredible initiative.
We've just really been blown away by all of the generosity of people right across Australia. I've just got so much passion for, being able to help people in the best way that I can at this time.
Well, Matt's work making prosthetics and now face shields began after he lost his job at Toyota a few years ago. He used his redundancy payout to turn his personal loss into community gain, and he's doing it all over again, Joe. It's great to see.
Oh, and I love that his whole family are involved with this latest venture. What a great example he is to his kids.
Sure is. After the break, we might be at home a lot more, but how are you dealing with spending time with the same people day in, day out? It's not necessarily smooth sailing all the time. We'll hear what the experts think right after a break here on the House of Wellness. Welcome back. Well, Joe, they say that a healthy relationship has a good balance of spending time together as a couple or as a family and at the same time spending a bit of time alone.
Well, it's a good theory, but you can chuck that book away at the moment because right now we're, of course, all living on top of each other, and that, I have to say, takes some getting used to, regardless of how amazing your relationship might be.
There's no doubt that the shift to working from home has created some stress in families and put a bit of extra strain on relationships. For a lot of people, they're bringing the office home with them, along with the pressures that go with it, which is a challenge.
It's just learning a whole new way to coexist. And please know, you're not alone when your partner is doing your head in. I'm not talking about my life.
Sounds
really,
a bit personal.
I'm not. I love my husband dearly. But this is something Dr. Jerry Carantzas is hearing all the time. He's an expert in psychology and adult relationships, and I began by asking him one very important question: how to survive in lockdown.
The reality is that we as kind of human beings long for human connection, and human connection tends to take priority when we experience really significant stress and strain. So being able to kind of detect and decipher what someone needs is always important. Giving support is a real skill, and I don't think people realise just how much of a skill it is. And we don't get it right all the time. But in times of stress and strain, it becomes pretty important that we're able to do that to the best of our abilities.
So does that mean trying to articulate better what we may need, which is hard because sometimes we don't know what we need?
Absolutely.
How then do we articulate it? What are some great tips around that?
Couples that do a really good job at dealing with stressful times and conflict completely acknowledge that they're not going to get it right all the time, and that there are times where they're going to get stressed and sometimes they may get upset with one another, but something very important does happen. And what it is that after the fact and that heat of time where no one really knows what to do and they might be getting upset and frustrated with each other, they come back, they apologise, and they try to go, okay, we didn't do that so well, let's try again.
How important for people who are living together is setting boundaries?
Having boundaries, is an important aspect of just having time to yourself. I think everyone likes their own personal space and time. We'd all agree with that. The simplest way to handle that at home, which sounds, again, very practical and rational, is just to turn around and be really clear with those around you about when you want time and space and how you plan to do it. And I think in this time and place, certainly setting boundaries and having some time to oneself and a time out is a healthy thing, and people shouldn't necessarily be seeing that as a source of either rejection or that they don't want to be around someone.
Jerry, is it okay and is it normal to be deeply irritated by someone that you love?
Are you talking personally here, Joe? I don't know.
I'm sure everyone's the same.
Typically, when I get these questions, it starts with someone saying, I have a friend.
Yeah.
Look, I think it varies. to be honest, it really does vary for people, because I think it depends a little bit on how much time people typically like spending with one another. And relationships are different. I think just because we love and care for one another doesn't mean that lots of people love spending inordinate amounts of time with one another. Under normal circumstances, things wouldn't quite be like this. That's important to acknowledge. And what's important to acknowledge is that, you are open to, apologising to one another, or, trying to humour one another where necessary, because, these are strange times. But experiencing some agitation, some frustration wouldn't be out of the norm, but I wouldn't also be becoming more stressed and agitated about the frustration you're experiencing, if that makes sense.
It absolutely makes sense, and I'll tell my friend that piece of advice.
Yes, you tell that friend. Make sure they listen good.
Well, there you go. It's not just me. We all need to set boundaries, set up our own spaces, and separate work from downtime when you're just hanging out.
Yeah, no doubt communicating your needs and differences is a big one too, Joe. And one of the big pluses is that if you're getting a bit tense, you can always go out for a walk and take the dog again.
Interesting. My husband's now doing 3 walks a day with the dog. Should I take that as a hint?
There's a subtle message there, I think, no doubt.
So the coronavirus has changed the way we interact, and even our everyday language. The terms social distancing and self-isolation will debut in the Macquarie Dictionary's next online edition, as will COVID-19 and coronavirus.
Then we're starting to talk words like being in ISO, self-isolation, a bit of slang. And Joe, did you know before, a couple of months ago, what PPE stood for?
No, I did not, but
we all
I do
now. Personal
protection equipment.
There you go.
Yes, that's right. And then there's words like wet market and flattening the curve that also is probably going to get a look in. I really do enjoy the way language evolves.
Very true, Joe. Coming up, we debunk the myths and stigma surrounding schizophrenia. But first, Heinzie gives us some background on the low-carb, high-fat diet that may help this chronic mental illness.
Hi, I'm Jake Kisnorbo and I'm all about the latest beauty, hair and makeup trends.
And I'm Polly Harding, and working in radio, I've still got a lot to learn about the beauty biz.
Together, we're going to bust those beauty myths,
Strip things back to basics and learn a few new tricks in the process. So what is the purpose of a primer? How do we use it? When do you put it on? Many questions.
Primer is every makeup artist's magic ingredient. So primer is everything we do to someone's skin before applying all the makeup. For me, I believe that primers are a really important step, and the difference between a really well done makeup and kind of like a rookie makeup.
Right.
So we're using the Photo Ready Prime Plus primers. The great thing is Revlon has catered for everyone, so there's not just one, there's 3. There's the one for mattifying and filling in those pores, there's the one for brightening, and then the last one is just a smoothing and perfecting the skin. So you're not at all restricted to only use one primer. We all have different skin, so it's about understanding your skin and what you want the end effect to look like. So you really like a overall glowy finish on your foundation? Yeah. So would you say that you've got a bit of pigmentation or your skin tan certain areas?
Yeah, sometimes.
Yep, so a great one for that is the yellow, the brightening and smoothing. Yep, pop a bit on the back of your hand. And as you can see, it's really enriched with vitamin C.
Quite shimmery.
Yeah, if you just work it in a little bit and then apply some onto any areas you just want, just an even skin tone. Yep, your forehead. There are areas that need brightening, that need you to basically even out your skin tone, and also to eradicate any pores. And the pore minimizer and mattifier is the perfect primer to just pop that on that area.
Okay. So now I'm primed.
You're primed and you're ready to go with the rest of your makeup.
I can actually visibly see the reduction in my pores there.
I can too.
And
really
the brightening one has really helped. Easy.
Easy.
Some might say, closed my pores and opened my eyes.
But love it.
Some top tips there on how to get a healthy glow, which we're all needing right now. But I have to say, a balanced, nutritious diet also helps, Das.
Well, you've got plenty to choose from, Joe. There was the Atkins diet, do you remember that? The
yes.
South Beach diet a few decades ago as well was a bit of a fad. And these days we think the Mediterranean diet. There's paleo juice detoxes, which I'm a bit of a fan of, as you know. Intermittent fasting's been something I've done for a while.
Yes, but the buzz diet on everyone's lips right now is the ketogenic or keto diet. It's high in good fats and low in carbs and features a lot of meat, cheese and low-carb veggies.
Well, our own Hinesy is a big fan, as you know. Providing it's done in a balanced way is always his message. So here he is with all the facts on keto.
Thanks, Das. Keto is a diet that's very low in carbs, a moderate amount of protein, but really high in healthy fats. The name keto comes from ketosis, and ketosis comes from ketones. Let me explain. When we eat predominantly carbohydrates, our body turns those carbs into sugars that we therefore use as energy. Now, if you take out all of those carbohydrates and you replace them with healthy fats, our body is then forced to create what's known as ketones. Now, these ketones are our new source of energy. So not only does your body run on the fats that you're eating, but it can also tap into the fat stores you're holding onto your body, which is why so many people lose weight when they go keto. Now, you'll notice I say high in healthy fat. That's really important because it doesn't mean you just eat all the fatty food in the world. It's got to be natural, real food. For example, we've got things like avocados, full-fat cheese, nuts, seeds, salmon and fattier cuts of meat. Building a perfect keto meal means you want to break your plate into 3 distinct zones. 70% healthy fat, 25% well-sourced protein, and then just 5% good quality, above-ground, non-starchy carbs. Your fats can include nuts and seeds, healthy avocados, which are a fantastic source of omega-3 and 6, full-fat cheese. Make sure that you're not going with that low-fat dairy. You want the real stuff right here. And then, of course, your fattier cuts of animal protein, things like pork belly. And, of course, red fish like salmon or ocean trout. Now, when it comes to protein, you want about that 25% zone, but remember, some of your fats may actually cross over into your proteins the same way that some of your proteins might be fattier cuts, which therefore cross over into your fats. So, for example, beef cheeks and chicken thigh are fantastic examples of both protein and fat. When it comes to your carbohydrates, you want to fill that 5% of the plate with above-ground, non-starchy fruits and veggies. I love berries. They're packed with phytonutrients and antioxidants and very low carb. And of course, green leafy vegetables are an absolute go-to when going keto. That there is a fantastic example of the perfect keto plate. A lot of people can get quite daunted from how much fat they have to eat each and every day, but it becomes quite easy. You could put some MCT oil into your coffee in the morning and have a bulletproof to start your day. Then with your lunch, you give it an extra drizzle of extra virgin olive oil. And then when you start choosing fattier cuts of meat, roasting your veg with duck fat or tallow in the oven, you're hitting that fat quota before you know it. A lot of people go keto to lose body fat, but it has been shown to reduce inflammation and manage many autoimmune conditions. Now, transitioning to keto is different for everybody. It can take between 7 to 30 days, and in that time, you might feel what's known as the keto flu. A little bit of lethargy, a little bit tired, really, really thirsty. So you have to make sure that you up those good fats to feel full, because there'll be moments where you feel hungry, but also stay really hydrated. You've got to drink lots of water to flush your system. There's no doubt keto has some incredible benefits, but that doesn't mean it is for everyone. So make sure you do your research and understand something I like to call bio-individuality, which means there's no one-size-fits-all approach for all of us. So do what's right for you. And if you do go keto, make sure you enjoy it, it's sustainable, and it's delicious.
Interestingly, the keto diet isn't that new. It's been around since the 1920s to help children who suffered from seizures. Then the adults jumped on it as a way to possibly slim down. It's been used to treat epilepsy, some cancers and even Alzheimer's.
Now, the keto diet is being trialled as a way to treat the devastating mental illness that affects around 1 in 100 people, Joe. Find out more after the break right here on the House of Wellness. You're watching The House of Wellness. Before the break, Hines explained the keto diet, a low-carb, high-fat eating plan that's been used to treat diseases like epilepsy and Alzheimer's, Joe.
It's now being investigated as a way to treat schizophrenia, the mental condition that affects around 1 in 100 people. There are many stigmas and myths surrounding schizophrenia, the biggest being that sufferers have multiple or split personalities, which isn't the case.
Well, people with schizophrenia do suffer delusions and hallucinations. Antipsychotic medications are the most common treatments, but these can have a range of unwanted side effects.
Australian health experts are now trialling a keto diet as a possible treatment with some amazing results. Professor Zoltan Sarnier works in the Laboratory of Psychiatric Neuroscience at Queensland's James Cook University. His interest was sparked during some research that revealed that sugar was processed differently in the brains of schizophrenia sufferers.
My lab and many other labs actually started discovering that in the brain with individuals with schizophrenia and also in animal models of schizophrenia, there seems to be an abnormal use and metabolism, breakdown of sugar. So sugar is the primary source of chemical energy in our brain.
For 3 weeks, Professor Zoltan trialled a ketogenic diet on mice with induced schizophrenia symptoms. At the end of the trial, the mice on the ketogenic diets displayed no symptoms of schizophrenic behaviour, while those mice not on the diet were hyperactive and their schizophrenic symptoms continued.
We need to understand how it works, because that's important to convince other colleagues that, oh, this is not just another fad.
So it's very early days and there's a lot of work still to be done.
Absolutely.
But you feel optimistic about this exploration?
I do feel optimistic. I feel optimistic about potentially opening up a new way of approaching a serious mental illness.
On the other side of the world, Dr. Christopher Palmer, a psychiatrist with the Harvard Medical School, discovered quite by accident that the ketogenic diet could help people suffering from schizophrenia when he put a patient on the diet to lose weight.
But so one patient that I had been treating for over 10 years wanted to lose a lot of weight. He weighed 340 pounds. He was obese. He had metabolic syndrome, high blood pressure, blood sugars were going up. So he wanted to lose weight, and we tried a ketogenic diet for weight loss. He had tried several other types of diets, and none had worked. And not only did he end up losing weight, but within about 2 to 3 months, kind of right before my eyes, I noticed what I would describe as almost a miraculous transformation in him. I noticed that his psychotic symptoms were going down, and he was just spontaneously reporting this to me, that, you know, those voices that I hear, I'm not hearing them so much anymore. The delusions that he was having, the paranoid delusions, they were going away. He was becoming more engaged in life. He was interacting with people. He actually started caring about his appearance. And so I was noticing like this transformation right before my eyes.
And from that, did you try a keto diet with other patients?
So yeah, since that time, I've tried the ketogenic diet with at least 50 other patients. And I will say this diet does not cure everyone. In my experience so far, probably about 30 to 40% of people who try this diet will have almost a complete remission of their psychotic symptoms.
Wow.
Another 30 to 40% will have dramatic improvement in their symptoms, and enough improvement that they want to continue the diet. But there is another group of people, 20%, 30% or so, that don't seem to benefit from the diet for unclear reasons. We just don't know.
Is it because there's less sugar in the diet? Is that a simple way of describing it?
I think having low amounts of carbohydrate and sugar is critical to achieve ketosis, but I think it's actually even more complicated than that. I think that is a major piece of it. The easiest way that I would kind of explain the difference is it causes a profound shift in metabolism.
So what's next for you and this research?
Great question. So I am collaborating with researchers all over the world, including from Australia. And we are hoping to start some clinical trials. It's a tremendously exciting time. A lot of researchers are really interested in this, and I am really excited and honored to be at the forefront of this field.
It must be so exciting to witness such a change.
It is. And I can tell you, in the first patient that I treated that I described earlier, as I saw him transform before me, I see him every week. And so I would see the progress very slowly but surely. And it was certainly career changing for me, but it was also life changing for me. I have had such a passion about trying to help people who suffer from mental disorders, who are tormented by their symptoms. And it has been frustrating and disheartening for me as a psychiatrist when I treat those people and the treatments I give them don't work. And so to see this treatment work so powerfully, and then, on top of it, they lose like hundreds of pounds, and they're happier than ever, and they look better. And I mean, that's just icing on the cake. But just to see the transformation in their lives and their symptoms, and the reduction of their suffering is really life-changing.
Well, some incredible advances being made there to help people with schizophrenia and their families, Jo. And
it goes to prove once again that we really are what we eat, and that the right diet is key to maintaining good health in pretty much every area of our lives. And that's also true for people with eczema, dust.
I like that we're getting that link between diet and other ways of treating people. And as you said, with eczema, it's a skin condition that affects 1 in 5 Aussie families, and it's most prevalent in kids.
Oh, yeah, and I have to say, nothing breaks my heart more than seeing a little bubba suffering from that terrible red itch and the cracked skin. It's awful. Anti-inflammatory foods like fish, yoghurt and fruit and veggies can help, but there are also ways to help reduce the itch and protect the skin.
My name's Finn, and I like to play footy, shoot basketball and hang around with my friends.
Are you cold?
Yes.
12-year-old Finn Wilson is just like any other kid his age, except for one very irritating thing.
My skin can be really annoying at some times and a little embarrassing at some times. I've had it for as long as I can remember, which is a long time, and it's been a bit of a pain for most of it, but I've been able to control it.
When he was 6 months old, his skin just started to develop little patches of redness all over his body. It was kind of in clusters in the warmer spots, so just on his elbows on the inside, the back of his neck, the back of his legs. This is where you start and you go across like that. It certainly affected him. He gets frustrated with it, itching, and he's just uncomfortable.
Dry skin is actually more common than what people may think, and dry skin can actually lead to itch.
I've got one.
By scratching the skin, you can physically disrupt the skin barrier, and your skin barrier is so important in actually maintaining a healthy skin function. So keeping moisture in and also irritants out.
How's your skin today?
Sore. Not really sore, just itchy.
Your skin barrier works like the walls of a house, and one of the essential components is a key ingredient called ceramides. So ceramides are kind of like the mortar that holds your bricks together in your house. So if you're deficient in your ceramides, that means that your walls aren't as strong as they could be.
Although Finn still has dry, itchy skin, he's got it under control. And with almost 70% of the population suffering some kind of dry skin, Finn has some words of advice.
You can control it easily, you just gotta know how to.
You got it?
Yep.
I have probably bought every cream under the sun in the past 12 years. So it was just a matter of trial and error and just seeing what worked. And when we found something that worked, we stuck with it.
In order to maintain a healthy skin barrier, you should think about what products you're using in the shower first. So it's really important to use a soap-free cleanser. The second thing you should think about is using a really good quality moisturiser, so something that's fragrance-free. Products containing ceramides can really benefit people with dry, itchy skin because they're actually working to support the skin barrier. If you're concerned about your child's dry, itchy skin, consider products that have actually been paediatrician tested as well. So the skin of babies and children can be more delicate than adult skin.
Like, I didn't think it was like a serious problem that, you know, we couldn't overcome. I don't go, oh, thin skin, it's annoying, I've got to keep on top of it. That's just what you do as a parent. You look after your children.
Welcome back. So the gyms and sporting venues might be closed at the moment, but from the number of people running on the streets and parks, I'm tipping we're going to be a lot fitter coming out the other side of this, Jo.
Well, you're not wrong, Das. It's exercise right week, but it's feeling like that all of the time, Das. And I have to say, I have adopted at-home yoga with a passion, and I never thought I would do that.
Work well online. I know my wife's doing a fair bit of online yoga. You're enjoying it?
Yes, I'm loving it.
Now, there's no shortage of home workout sessions online. A dance-based fitness program that's taken the world by storm in recent years is Extend Barre. Now, the Prime Minister was even asked about it, and I'm not sure that he's been to a class recently. Take a look.
Community and recreation centres, health clubs, fitness centres, yoga, barre, I hope I've pronounced that correct. I might need some help with that. I'm not quite sure what that is, to be honest, but B-A-R-R-E for those who are looking for the specific definition, and spin facilities, saunas, bathhouses, wellness centres.
Oh, he's not supposed to know that.
Probably can't know everything the Prime Minister, in fairness, but we did have a couple of AFL players from St Kilda go head-to-head with some instructors last year, Jo.
Yes, and they struggled keeping up from what I remember. Extend Barre was created around 10 years ago by former pro dancer Andrea Rogers. We sent along netball champ Bianca Chatfield to catch up with the American powerhouse during her pre-coronavirus Aussie tour.
Get fired up! Here we go! You go 4, 4, 3, 3, come on!
In Extend Barre, we move. You sweat. There's grit, there's power, there's strength, there's cardio, there's grace as well.
This killer training regime combines two already deadly workouts, ballet and Pilates.
As a dancer, you feel strong, but when you start doing Extend Barre as a workout, oh my goodness, like you just feel so empowered and so strong just in day-to-day life. Yeah, it's incredible.
It's high energy, right? Very high energy, but low impact workout. So you can do this at any fitness level, at any age. So those two individuals can be in that class, the triathlete and the novice, and they will both leaving feeling like they got the best workout for them.
Andrea Rogers is the genius who took Pilates vertical and threw a few pliés in for fun. Am I right? You were doing a Pilates class and you were adding in dance movements? Is that
so I was training private Pilates clients, and I had said, hey, do you mind if I do some of my dance moves with you? And they're like, sure. So I would take them to the ladder barrel, which is a Pilates equipment, and I would start to do pliés with them and relevés and tendus and some of the classic, you know, isometric bar movements, and they were responding to it. And it was from then that I discovered I really was missing the choreography element, and I wanted to marry my two loves of Pilates and dance, and boom, Extend Barre was formed.
And then turn correct.
While dance is at its core, even the most seasoned dancers are challenged.
How does it feel being the student today? I mean, it's horrendous because it's so hard, but it's amazing as well. It's so great to go back to basics. It's so nice to just keep upskilling, you know, because you never know unless you're getting that feedback of your teaching what you're like, so it's great.
Classical ballet dancer Vicky Little is now an Extend Barre trainer.
It's always a massive sweat fest whenever we do it, but just really inspiring. It just makes you want to be a better teacher.
Scoop through the pelvic floor, articulate, vertebra by vertebra. Breathe. It is not a dance choreographed routine where you have to come in and show up in a tutu, right? Yeah. This workout is a really powerful workout that's driven on Pilates principles as well. So you're gonna focus on the strength of the movement, the control of the movement. You're gonna focus on the mind-body connections. This is not a workout that you have to be a dancer or a female to do. I used to train some professional athletes when I was in South Florida, and they use this as conditioning, professional football players.
7, power
Four more here for 4.
Andrea's passion for barre sweats out of every pore. It's how she grew the business from her hometown in the US to over 70 locations worldwide.
In the beginning when I started this, it was really focused on that local community. And then organically, it just grew from there. And of course, as that grew, my ambition and goals and dreams have grown and continue to grow. And so I think we are just getting started. When I get to travel overseas, that is where I find, I just find those little moments of, this is pretty cool. You know, that I'm on the other side of the world in this studio in Hawthorne, and here we are, and here's Extend Bar on the walls. It's pretty powerful, it's pretty special.
No wonder those boys from the Saints were sweating. That's one of those very quiet exercise programs that creeps up on you and hits you in places you don't even know you had. It's incredibly strengthening.
Yeah, Andrea Rogers is a pocket rocket, Joe, no doubt about that. She's a mum of 2 who says she starts each day with avocado and eggs, has a mid-morning and mid-arvo protein shake, and uses chocolate almond milk to satisfy any cravings.
Oh, I love the sound of that. A chocolate hit that's healthy for you, which would also be music to Hines' ears. He's teamed up with GQ to blend up a salted chocolate thick shake that'll make the kids grow strong and stay sweet without the sugar.
Now, unfortunately, GQ, we can't be catching up at our local cafe having a classic chocolate thick shake, but I've got you covered today with my healthy version of a salted chocolate thick shake, which is not only really good for you, but easy enough for even you to whip up at home. Perfect for ISO life, mate.
I remember as a kid growing up, I loved milkshakes, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you put together today.
I love that you mentioned growing up, GQ, because the healthy milk that I'm using in this thick shake is perfect for bone and muscle development, in particular, fantastic for kids who are constantly growing and evolving.
And milk is important, Heinz, as in all dairy food, but the 2 ingredients we look at for musculoskeletal development in children are calcium and magnesium.
GQ, this is looking thick and perfect. Now, speaking of blending, how do magnesium and calcium work together?
Well, magnesium, Heinz, as we know, is really important for muscles, but in children, it's important for their development of a healthy nervous system. Now, calcium, on the other hand, important for bones and teeth development as children grow.
And if kids are lactose intolerant, thankfully there's other options out there for them too.
Yes, and that's where a supplement plays a role. But it's very important to get advice from a qualified health practitioner to make sure the best decisions are made.
Knowledgeable and helpful as always, GQ. Now, I've poured you one so that we can share this together in spirit, because I know you have a little bit more growing to do to catch up to me, buddy.
Thank you, Heinzie. I think I'm all grown up, but I'll never say no to a milkshake. Cheers.
The A to Z of Vitamins is brought to you by Bioceuticals, your choice for high-quality, practitioner-only therapeutic supplements from a proudly Australian company.
Welcome back. Well, he's brought us Don't Panic Cakes, created the ISO-inspired Squash Your Hands, cooped up chicken, and he's got one more in his repertoire that he reckons even I could make, Joe. I'm talking about our mate Heinzie, of course.
What do you like in the kitchen?
Not great, fair to say. Yeah.
Great. Well, whatever Heinzie calls his creations, they're always tasty, nutritious, and best of all for you and me, Das, easy to make. So here's Heinzie with his Meatless Mondays, inspired by 4 easy ingredients and the fact that we're all meating a little less.
A lot of people are wanting to go plant-based right now, so I've got a perfect recipe. This is my charred pumpkin tortillas, and I'm going to give a whole new meaning to Meatless Mondays. That's right, M-E-E-T. Bear with me right here. This tortilla recipe is perfect for anyone who couldn't find any bread in your supermarket, because you're making the tortilla from scratch, and it's only got 4 ingredients. It's almond meal and arrowroot flour combined with coconut cream and water. It is that easy. Once you've combined the ingredients, give them a really good whisk. Don't be surprised if your batter looks more watery than you'd imagine. You actually want it nice and light. That will give you a crispier tortilla. We need a good quality cooking fat, as always, going with coconut oil, rich in medium chain triglycerides, good healthy fat. We're going to fry that off. So that all my tortillas are the same size, I use a measuring cup. I get it in there and each one looks perfect. I cook these tortillas on a medium to high heat. Be warned, don't flip them too soon. You want them to seal all the way along the bottom before you give them that flip. That will make sure they hold their form and they're nice and golden brown. Whilst your tortillas are cooking, it's a good time to get onto your pumpkin. Now, I have just chopped this up, put it in extra virgin olive oil, baked it in the oven at 180 degrees for 20 to 30 minutes or until golden brown and crispy around the edges. Once your tortilla is ready, transfer it to the plate and then get onto your avocado smash. All you need to do is get an avocado in a bowl, use the back of a fork to give it a smash, give your avocado a good season of salt and a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil. Add some fresh chopped herbs and serve it out across your tortilla. Top with your pumpkin and give it a good sprinkle with chili flakes. And there you have it, guys. Take your meatless Mondays to the next level with my charred pumpkin tortilla, the perfect balanced combination of a vegan meal for you. Meatless Mondays sorted.
Heinz clearly has a lot more time on his hands in terms of naming his dishes. What's next? I wonder, pardon the punnet of strawberries?
Well, his Meatless Mondays may have been a missed state, Joe. I'm concerned we've had too much time in isolation. We're going the dad joke path. That's all we've got time for today. Good time to wrap up. Thanks for watching. Head to our website at houseofwellness.com.au for more information. And don't forget to tune in to Joe, Stanley and GQ on the House of Wellness radio show every Sunday. Thanks as always to our great friends at Chemist Warehouse. Stay safe, stay well and stay home. We'll see you next time.